Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back for a Friday edition of the Steel City Sports Report, where we talk everything Steelers, Penguins, and Pirates. I am your host, Brady Vini, and it is going to be a pretty free-flowing Friday here on the channel. Not much big news coming around today other than the Pittsburgh Pirates about to play here within the hour. The Pittsburgh Penguins wrapping up their season on a high note last night. And we're going to talk some NFL draft per usual. We're now 6 nights away from the NFL draft. So very, very exciting there. And going to be talking about probably the most intriguing storyline heading into this year's draft. Where will Shedeur Sanders wind up? And is there a clear path for him to make it all the way down to 21 for the Pittsburgh Steelers to select him? I'm going to go over that here in a matter of moments. Also got some news. Maybe, probably not, but you never know. Get some answers as to what the Steelers will be doing next Tuesday. So, going to be talking about that. Hit on a couple of other news stories as they trickle in here this evening. 5 of you in here right now. If you're new, I would appreciate it very, very much if you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so that you never miss when I am live. Also, feel free to like and share this stream and comment in the live chat. I enjoy very much popping your comments up here on the screen for all to see, and interacting with you fine folks that way keeps things interesting here instead of me just talking to a camera here. So gonna get started here with why Shedeur Sanders could fall to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, every single year you have your risers and your fallers in the NFL draft, but probably the most intriguing, most probable faller in this year's draft is Shedeur Sanders. Originally, it was thought he was going to be a lock for the number 2 pick or the number 3 pick with the Cleveland Browns and New York Giants. Now that is not the case. Since then, New Orleans, they have popped up most recently with the Derek Carr injury as a potential landing spot for Shedeur Sanders. But now some insiders are hearing that may not happen either. So we're going to go here case by case here and see what all is going on this front. I want to start here. This came out from Diana Rossini 10 hours ago. She said from the conversations that she's having, the Giants do not appear to be a house divided as they plow ahead with what remains of their draft process. She said that they could take a quarterback at 3. After all, the Giants, it was recently reported, are having Shedeur Sanders in for one last private workout in the, upcoming draft shadow looming. So they brought in Shedeur for a visit. She said that could be in case that the Giants trade back. But this Shedeur workout that they're having, they're not really thinking about taking a quarterback, in her opinion. They got Russell Wilson now. They got Jameis Winston, Tommy DeVito as their quarterback room. 3 guys who have NFL experience in that room. And pretty much with it being guaranteed that Cam Ward is going to go number 1 overall in the draft, the Giants, they are going to be sitting pretty perfect to get one of either Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter, whoever the Browns decide to not take. So right off there, looks like Shedeur isn't going number 3 to the Giants, at least in Diana Rossini's opinion. Last night, Adam Schefter on ESPN NFL Live, he broke down this Shedeur situation even more, talking about the Giants holding the private workout. He said it feels like Shedeur's range is anywhere from pick number 3 to pick 21 with the Steelers, the latest that he could fall. And he said, I don't like the chances of Shedeur going number 9 to the New Orleans Saints. That is very, very interesting. With Derek Carr injury, like I just said, it seemed like Shedeur's stock and chances of him going to the Saints at number 9 skyrocketed. Well, that was the case up until yesterday when 3-time All-Pro right tackle for the Saints, Ryan Ramczyk, retired from the NFL. Now, I'm not going to sit here and act like I know the New Orleans Saints depth chart up and down, but they have a lot of holes, and with Ramczyk retiring there, I believe, one of their main tackles now is Trevor Penning, a rookie who, has been disappointing so far in his NFL career. So with Ranchik now retiring and Penning sputtering, kind of like how Broderick Jones is here in Pittsburgh, you got to wonder how that tackle situation down there in New Orleans is going to shape up. They're now in the tackle market, and they would be in prime range to maybe take a Will Campbell if he falls, or an Armand Membo. How high are they on Kelvin Banks or Josh Connerly, someone like that? So the Saints, they could easily go tackle in the first round now at number 9. And they also got some other holes on their team as well. Demario Davis, their middle linebacker, who's been there forever, he isn't getting any younger. They could always use secondary help, especially after trading away Marshawn Lattimore at the trade deadline last year. They just really are a team who is up against the cap, and they need help all over as much as they can. So the Saints, with this news and the news of Derek Carr, they could be in a situation where now, just 6 days out from the draft, could look back and say, hey, this upcoming year, we aren't going to compete, and we're probably going to suck this year anyway if we do take a rookie quarterback. So why not pass this year, tank this next season out, get a high draft pick next year, possibly the first or second overall pick, and then we're in prime position to get an Arch Manning or a Nico Iamaleava, a Lenoris Sellers, Drew Aller, any of those guys. So the Saints, they now at number 9, if they take Shedeur Sanders, they're going to put him in a hell of a spot with little to work with around him. And yeah, a guy, Sanders, who took a lot of sacks in college, is going to go behind that offensive line, and he's just going to get sacked even more and possibly injured right off the bat in his NFL career. So I understand where Adam Schefter is coming from right there, thinking that Sanders could go, or most likely will not go, number 9. So now I want to pop this up. If you pay attention here at the bottom of the screen, real quick, going to go to the comments. Jonathan Harvey in the comments. Welcome, Jonathan. Shedeur appears to end up drafted by the Giants, Browns, Raiders, Saints, Dallas, Pittsburgh, or Tennessee, surprisingly. Okay, so let's go through each and every one of those there. Tennessee, definitely not. They are 110% sold on Cam Ward as the number 1 overall pick. I don't see any way that they trade, that they select like a Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter and then trade back up into the first round to get Shedeur Sanders. That would be a very risky move on their behalf. Dallas, I want to say no, but you never know with Jerry Jones. He's a wild card, and Deion Sanders, former Cowboy there. Jerry Jones could see his kid there and say, hey, things aren't getting any better here with Dak at the helm, so we might as well take a rookie quarterback to marinate behind Prescott for a couple of years. Pittsburgh, definitely, if he makes it to 21, I think Mike Tomlin is going to hammer the table over Omar Khan, over Art Rooney II, even if they, don't agree with him and take him there. Giants, maybe. Browns, be crazy. I would laugh at it, honestly, if the Browns took Shedeur. You pass on Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter, you'd be insane to take Shedeur over one of those two. Raiders, who knows? Could put him out in Vegas with Pete Carroll there to sit behind Geno Smith, but I think that they are more looking into a win now. They paid Geno Smith a whole lot of money this offseason. They brought in Pete Carroll, like I said. They're getting a couple of other weapons in free agency that I think are slipping my mind right now. They paid Max Crosby a whole lot of money. They're not going to pay Crosby and then say, hey, you're going to wait, a couple years here until we take Shedeur and, he really comes into form. So not necessarily ruling out the Raiders, but I'm saying that's unlikely as well. And also if Ashton Genty somehow falls to them in their laps at number 6, they'd be insane not to take him there. So really, Jonathan, out of your two options there for Shedeur that you put up, I definitely think that Saints and Pittsburgh are the most likely, unless you get the Giants, Browns, or Raiders to trade back into the first round. Mike N. Nem in the comments to say Shedeur is pro ready is ludicrous. Colorado offense had no tight end, 0, and they ran Y cross 10 times a game. He is a see it, throw it QB, no anticipation whatsoever. I'm not calling Shedeur a NFL ready quarterback. If the Steelers do draft him, I definitely think right now, Aaron Rodgers talking on the Pat McAfee show yesterday, not sure where his head's at. If he's even going to continue playing football. It didn't really sound like it. But Shedeur, if he comes to Pittsburgh, I think 110% you got to let him sit behind someone. Mason Rudolph could be that guy. Rudolph left Pittsburgh on good terms, winning 3 games in a row before the playoff loss, went to Tennessee for a year, and now he's back. So there'd definitely be support for Mason Rudolph to start over Shedeur at the start. And if Rodgers comes, he's automatically going to be the starter if he decides to play. So Shedeur, I mean, he's definitely starting if he goes to the Saints. There's no ands if or buts about it. From what it sounds like, Derek Carr's shoulder injury is going to be season ending. And also there's like a whole money thing, 1 year left on his contract. They're not going to want to keep him around. He doesn't want to stay there anyways. So, it'd be crazy by the Saints to take Shedeur. If I'm the Saints, just bite the bullet with Spencer Rattler and stink it up for a year. But we'll have to wait and see. Shedeur isn't pro ready, but maybe he can sit and learn how to develop some traits sitting behind an NFL quarterback, and also learn that, hey, you don't have Travis Hunter out there to bail out most of your. But anyway, here, if you look at the bottom of your screen now on the ticker here, I actually have the draft order ready for Thursday night when I'm live during the draft here. So just want to go over, where Shedeur could possibly fall on this map. Tennessee, no, they're taking Cam Ward. Cleveland and Giants, most likely not, because you got just such raw star power there with Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter going there. New England, no, they have Drake May. Jacksonville, no, they still got Trevor Lawrence, but hey, nothing crazier would happen other than that if they're all the way out on Trevor. Las Vegas, maybe, but I think they're in a win now mode, as I said. New York, possibly. You're only married to Justin Fields for 2 years, which I'm sure you can get out of it after the first year. Maybe you take Shedeur and put him behind Justin, see if you can win now with Justin, see if he's the guy. If not, then you turn to Shedeur, which I'm going to say that about New York. I'm also going to say the same thing about New Orleans, is that if they are thinking about taking quarterback, I wonder why it would be Shedeur, because we all know that Shedeur isn't the most elusive quarterback, getting out of the pocket, getting yardage up the field on runs. So, New York Jets, you're going to have the offense built around probably second to Lamar Jackson, the most mobile quarterback in the NFL, and Justin Fields. And New Orleans, their head coach, Kellen Moore, offensive coordinator for the Eagles, he's, had Jalen Hurts, who had some mobility to him. So, for two teams that have mobile quarterbacks, you would think that Jackson Dart would most likely fill their needs if they wanted to take a quarterback more than anything, just because he's the best. I mean, debate amongst yourselves whether Milroe or Jackson Dart are the most mobile quarterbacks in the class. I think it's Milroe, but he's not going to go this high in the draft. So Jets probably not taking Shedeur. Carolina, they got Bryce Young. I think they're going to stick with him for now. New Orleans, in my heart of hearts, think that they would take Dart if they were serious about a quarterback, but they got a lot of holes, and nothing about that situation with the Saints is going to be helpful. Chicago, no. San Francisco, no. Dallas, Jerry Jones is senile. He may think, oh, crap, Deion's eligible for the draft again? Let me go take Deion. Miami, no. I mean, Miami, no, but it would be one hell of a story if they look at Tua and his injury proneness and decided to take Shedeur there. But they just had Teron Armstead retire. They're in the same situation as the Saints, where they're up against the cap and they got a lot of holes on their roster that need filled. They got no safeties right now. Javon Holland went up to the Giants. They got no starting left tackle now. They could, need help on the defensive line after Christian Wilkins left last year. So Miami, no. Indianapolis, no. They're in quarterback purgatory, but in no position to take one. Think they're just going to hope Anthony Richardson or Daniel Jones finds their groove. Atlanta, no. Michael Penix. Arizona, no. Kyler Murray for now. Cincy, obviously, no. Seattle, obviously, no. Sam Darnold, you just paid. Tampa Bay, no. And Denver, no. So there's a legit path there, ladies and gentlemen, for Shedeur to be the second quarterback, I should say, taken off the board with the Steelers at number 21. And I'm not discrediting the chances of Jackson Dart going earlier before him because he is more mobile for teams that like more mobile quarterbacks. And speaking of Jackson Dart, I was just going to save this to maybe like the, random news segment portion of the program. Jackson Dart today, he and Georgia defensive end Michael Williams are bailing out of their appearances and attendance for the NFL draft in Green Bay. So Dart and Williams were originally scheduled to be in Green Bay, but they pulled out from attending the draft in person. And now Ari Mirov says corner from Kentucky, Maxwell Hairston, will be going to Green Bay in their place. So now just looking at the list here that he posted for those players who will be in the draft in Green Bay, Cam Ward, first overall, obviously. Jalen Milroe. I mean, I could see a team slipping into the back of the first round or him staying there a night and maybe going early on day 2. Who knows? Ashton Genty, obviously. Travis Hunter, Matthew Golden, Tet McMillan. Yes. Will Campbell, Josh Simons, Tyler Booker. Definitely Campbell. Probably the other two are going to go in the first round as well. Abdul Carter, yes. Shamar Stewart, yes. Mason Graham, yes. Jahad Campbell, most likely. Will Johnson, yes. Maxwell Hairston, maybe. And Malachi starts, probably. So, interesting. Jackson Dart bailing out of going to the green room up in Green Bay. And also still a little shocked that Jalen Milroe got the invite there. Who are running the draft and those in the NFL must think that something is brewing where he is going to go in the first 32 picks, if not shortly after. So very interesting there. Let me pop this back up here. Let me hit on this real quick. Not much to this news story here, but worth noting, Tuesday next week, just 48 hours before the NFL draft, we will hear from the two head honchos running the ship in the Steelers facility on Thursday night. Omar Khan and Mike Tomlin will be speaking to the media at some point on Tuesday. And not really going to expect much from this press conference. All their questions are probably going to be centered around the draft. They may get like a couple of floaters about some other things, free agency, Aaron Rodgers, all that stuff. But expecting them to walk in there saying, oh, we feel that we put our team in the best position to take the best player available at pick 21 or possibly trade up or trade down. I think Omar Khan saying this entire offseason was we're leaving all options on the table, so expect to hear more of that. Mike Tomlin will probably talk about something around the same lines, and then after whoever they pick in the first round on Thursday, they'll both go to the podium again and say that they like this guy, he was at the top of their list, all that good stuff. So expecting, not much. Maybe you get one or two interesting quotes from there if they do say, anything interesting, I'll cover it either Tuesday or Wednesday night before the draft. But yeah, just putting it on everybody's radar. Khan and Tomlin will be speaking Tuesday. Not expecting much from it, but we'll see. Definitely not going to say, oh, yeah, we're definitely taking Shedeur Sanders if he falls there at 21. Oh, we like all four of those defensive tackles. So if we're going to take one of those, hey, we're open for business, trading back in the first round. We got offers from the Vikings and the Rams and the Commanders. So watch out for us to trade back. Here's what we're looking for. So going to get a whole lot of talking without a lot of answers in that press conference. Let's do a quick stroll here through Twitter before I change over to some new sports. Not seeing too much new news here. Not seeing anything. Lineup for the Indianapolis Indians. Okay. All right. Yep. Not seeing much. So we are going to switch up. Let's talk about Pittsburgh Penguins hockey real quick. Last night, final game of the regular season still feels a little bit odd. I'm old enough to where I grew up knowing nothing but Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, and Chris Letang, and making the playoffs every year. It still feels a little bit offsetting, even though this will be the third year in the row without playoffs. Feels still a little bit odd, and it hurts a little deep down that we're not getting ready to talk about a playoff series. But hey, still a very, very good way that they ended the season. They ended things on a high note, playing against the Washington Capitals last night. Game first commercial break, I think, saw something that you would never think you would have seen in Pittsburgh. That is the Pittsburgh crowd giving Alex Ovechkin a standing ovation for breaking Wayne Gretzky's gold record. Caps jumped up to an early 1-0 lead, and then from there on out, for the most part, it was pretty much all Penguins. Brian Rust potted a pair of goals, I believe. Sidney Crosby had 3 points, including a sick spinorama pass. If you know the play I'm talking about, he done that like 100 times in practice, and he's doing it in the games. Also did that similar play in the Four Nations tournament. It slipped my mind there what the name of that was. In the Four Nations tournament in game 1. So Sid sick spinorama goal there. Pens ended up winning 5-2, and then after the game they got together at center ice, saluted the fans. It was jersey off our backs night on fan appreciation night, giving jerseys to season ticket holders, autographing them, taking pictures. And taking pictures with the fans wasn't the only picture taken that night. After the game, Crosby and Malkin off the ice took a picture with Alex Ovechkin for breaking Gretzky's goal record and gifted him a Rolex for accomplishing such an amazing feat. Also, in that game, it was a night of milestones, some personal records for the players. Ricard Raquel recorded, I think, 1 or 2 points in the contest. He set a career high in goals earlier in the season and a now career high in total points at 70. So glad to see that they kept Ricard Raquel around after, really having a down season last year. There was lots of talks about him possibly being on the trading block, and him for majority of the year playing with Crosby and Rust, that was one of the best lines in hockey consistently throughout the season. And Rickard Rakell found a new level to his game. And also kudos to Kyle Dubas as well for holding him tight, or holding on to him tight around the trade deadline, because with the sellers market this year, I bet it was very, very tough for him to hold on to Rickard Rakell, but glad he did. Hopefully he continues this production next year. And moving from one goal scorer to hopefully a guy who will be a goal scorer for the Penguins for years to come. Now, didn't score his first career NHL goal last night, kind of got the puck in the net, but in an illegal way, pushing the puck across the line with his glove. But Ville Koivunen impressed on many, many levels for the Pens this year. In the short 2 weeks that he was up with the team. Of course, we all know about his AHL production, leading rookie scoring and points and all that. Probably going to be in the top 3 for Rookie of the Year finalists down in the AHL. But he came up, and Koivunen 2-point night last night, and through his first 8 career games, which includes a 5-game point streak, he has 7 total points, all of them assists, and Koivunen up on the top line with Crosby for most of that. Listen to this here, and I said this kid has the potential to be the next player like this. Koivunen's 7 points are the most by a Penguin in his first 8 games since Jake Gensel in 2016 and 2017. Obviously, you don't want to put the potential branding of Jake Gensel on Ville Koivunen, but he's off to a hell of a start. That kid is exciting to watch, and he is going to be exciting to watch next year when he, stamp it right now, 100% will make the opening night roster next year, health permitting. And lastly here, Crosby last night, I said this before I logged off last night's stream that he needed 1 point to reach the 90-point mark. I said Sid was probably going to do it. Well, he responded by not only getting 90 points, but sprinkling one more on top as well. Of course, had the 6 spinorama assist. Also, Philip Tomasino cross zone pass to Sid, one-timer to the knee, which his statue, if Crosby's statue one day outside whatever, whether it's PPG Paints Arena or a new arena way in the future, his statue better be of him on one knee ripping a one-timer into the top right corner of the net, because still, it never gets old. It's like watching fine art. But Crosby last night surpassed the 90-point mark with a goal and an assist through the first 2 periods, and led the team in points for the 15th time in his career. That ties Anze Kopitar for the 3rd most in NHL history, behind Wayne Gretzky and Gordie Howe. Gretzky at 19 and Gordie Howe at 17. So Sid, most 90-point seasons in NHL history, currently sitting 90-point season-wise, currently sitting in 6th place, tied with, the likes of Mike Bossy, Mark Messier, Joe Sakic, Connor McDavid, who's still got a long way to go to be Sid. And right now, who knows if he can do it. He doesn't seem to be slowing down with age. As a matter of fact, I think Brian Rust today in the Penguins locker cleanout, they asked the question, does Sidney Crosby age? Which I would say no, he does not. But Sid, 90-point season next year, he will be tied with Dale Hawerchuk and Penguins legend Jaromir Jagr if he can do it. So should be fun to see Sid there. Also, Sid's goal last night, and Brian Rust getting his 30th goal of the season recently. The Penguins have 3 30-goal scorers this season for the first time since the 2000-2001 season, and it is the 5th team this season to have 3 players with 30-plus goals. So the top line there, Crosby, Rust, Rakell, like I said, absolutely sensational this year. All of them 30-plus goals. And you see production like that, and you got to wonder, what this team could possibly be last year. There's obviously disappointment that they didn't make the playoffs this year. You can credit that to early season defensive collapses, goaltending for over half the year, letting in the goal on the first shot of the game and getting blown out. Changing some things throughout the year, selling out older players, bringing up younger guys from the loaded AHL squad. So should be exciting to see next year, I should say. Speaking of the AHL, Penguins today, per usual, assigned the following players back down to Wilkes-Barre Scranton for a Calder Cup playoff run. Ville Koivunen, of course, Yuna Koppinen, Philip Kral, Vasily Ponomarev, Sam Poulin, Valtteri Puustinen. Good luck to all of those young men who will play key roles in the baby Penguins march for a Calder Cup. Also, just going to hit on real quick, not really much too interesting or too noteworthy ground shaking was said during the locker cleanout day today. Noel Acciari, who didn't play last night with injury, indicated that it's a hip injury and that he is hopeful he will avoid surgery and not need to go under the knife, and that, rehabilitation will be all that he needs. Tristan Jarry, obviously, I think Jarry might have, the way he played down the stretch, it may have cost the Penguins a top 5 pick in this year's draft, but hopefully he raised his draft stock or his trade stock enough to, get traded somewhere. Said it was a tough season, never envisioned it going the way that it did, talking about, losing his confidence and going down to the AHL, getting waived, all that sort of thing. Probably the most exciting news from the locker cleanout interviews, Brian Rust going to be a dad again. I think that will be his second child, due here in early May. And then the big guy, Mike Sullivan, was asked what his plans are moving forward. Simply put, giving the big old metaphorical middle finger to all Penguins fans out there, saying he's washed, get him out. We need a new voice, saying my intentions are to be the head coach of the Pittsburgh Penguins. And don't doubt the truth or validity behind that statement whatsoever. Boston guy working for a Boston ownership group and Fenway Sports Group. So Sullivan going to be back next year and probably beyond that. And hey, the way the team played down the stretch here with, the young guys, Rucker McGroarty for a couple games, Ville Koivunen, Vasily Ponomarev, Sam Poulin for last night. I like to see what Sully, how well his game plan still fares out once he gets young guys back in the lineup again, kind of like what the team had in 2016, 2017, all that. Go to the comments here real quick. Jonathan Harvey, best Penguins player, Jaromir Jagr and Mario. There are no Jagrs in today's game. Best stick handler, I have to say. Best Penguin coach, Scotty Bowman. Yeah, pretty solid analysis there. Definitely not sure, what your age is, Jonathan. I obviously didn't get to see Jaromir Jagr's time in Pittsburgh because I wasn't born yet. But, Lemieux, I like to say this may be generational bias here on my part. I think Sidney Crosby right now is the greatest player to ever put on a Penguin uniform. And I say that with respect to Mario and with respect to Jagr. Mario, everything that the Penguins are today started around him. Mario put the Penguins on the map. Jagr saved the Penguins from going into bankruptcy back in the day. And Sid saved the Penguins again, getting drafted for moving out of the city, and raised the Penguins to a higher standard than what we possibly could have imagined. So, Crosby, I think, him and Lemieux are, 1A, 1B, and then Yager is a close second, and then you can fill out the rest of whoever you like in Penguins history. Scotty Bowman, greatest Penguins coach. Yeah, you can say Scotty Bowman. You can say Badger Bob Johnson. Mike Sullivan's no slouch, back-to-back Stanley Cup champion. But yeah, definitely, regardless of who you think is the best here, who's better, Sitter, Crosby, who's the best coach, who's the best, whatever, we all can agree that no matter how old you are, we've been blessed as a fan of the Pittsburgh Penguins to have seen success and over, a couple of different decades and, have under our, umbrella for all or most of their careers, some of the greatest players, if not the two greatest players in Lemieux and Crosby for their entire careers. Freight Train, welcome back, Freight Train. I've got the same hat. He's the best two-way player to ever skate. Crosby, absolutely. Also, thank you. Yeah, I think this was the Kenny Pickett year draft hat, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, wondering, going to be live here for draft night here on Thursday, wondering whether I wear this hat. Not sure what hat, shirt, jersey I'm going to wear for that, but will be a fun stream here on Thursday night for the draft and also Friday night for rounds 2 and 3, at least, maybe Saturday, who knows. But yeah, thank you very much. I've got both. That's awesome. I actually got this one recently at a Lids in the Greensburg Mall. I got it simply because this is the hat last year that Tomlin always wore. And also, it's kind of grown on me, though. I like my hats, white hats, and I also like the mesh back of it. Obviously, this one isn't, but those are my favorite kind of hats right there. But yeah, just to answer your question again, yes, Sid Crosby is the best two-way player to ever skate, and I don't think that's indisputable, seeing how at age 38 he was just voted by the NHL players the best two-way player in the game. Also voted the smallest, or not the smartest player in the NHL still. Here for opening day. I remember. Yep. I remember you, Freight Train. I remember you. I remember got a gentleman in here by the name of A on here. Yeah, for opening day of the Bucks. I remember that very, very well. Thank you again for joining me. Good fact, I got Sportsnet Pittsburgh on right here to my right. And actually, thank you for helping me there, Freight Train. I'm going to transition now. Just hit on the Bucks real quick. I talked about their 2 games from Wednesday and yesterday afternoon on yesterday's stream. I'm going to start a new series here in about half an hour against the Cleveland Guardians. Really, a team that they failed this offseason to strive and be like. Cleveland Guardians, they aren't the biggest market, highest spending team in the MLB. If you want the Pittsburgh Pirates to be competitive, they need to be like the team that they are going to play tonight, because the Guardians, they don't pay a lot of money, or they distribute their money pretty well. They're not a big market, and they develop talent. All 3 things that the Pirates are not whatsoever. See, I came back, LOL. You bailed me out, and I enjoyed the commentary. Sub for life. Thank you very, very much, Freight Train. I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. That means something to me. Hope you join me back here on Thursday night for Thursday and Friday night, maybe even Saturday for the draft. Jonathan Harvey, age 61, Sidney and Malkin not in the same league as Yager and Mario. That's your opinion. Again, I think right now here, Jonathan, you and I, we are going from different generational biases here, and that's all right. I'm not going to go losing my temper and arguing with you till I'm blue in the face about who's better, Crosby and Malkin. Now, here's where I think I will say this. Mario and Yager, fantastic duo. They are more closer to each other in terms of skill and production than Crosby and Malkin are, in my opinion. However, I think Crosby at an age in which, compared to the league that Mario and Yager played, where you got goalies still standing up and, they're not as nimble and athletic, and, skaters aren't skating as fast back then. Sid right now is playing in a generation of hockey that where it is so hard to score. Goalies have gotten bigger, their pads have gotten bigger, and he has just continued to shock the world each and every time that they think he's gonna start to decline with his age. But again, I think if I had to go in order, Crosby, close second Lemieux, tiny bit of a space Yager, and then another space you'll have Malkin. So I will say Yager and Mario probably the better duo, but Sid the best out of all of them in my opinion. And also that opinion of mine would probably be changed a little. Unfortunately, it was just the circumstance of Lemieux not having as long of a career as we all would like, him battling cancer and back issues and all of that. So I think, I think a part of it why you're defensive that Lemieux and Yager are better is because we didn't always get to, see them spend their whole time here with the Penguins consistently. Yager out with or Lemieux out with injury, and Yager with Yager going elsewhere. I'll be here, Freight Train. Thank you very much. I've seen them all. Sid has that next level. Mario, most dominant goal scorer of his time. No doubt Mario and Yager were amazing generational talent, but Sid is playing against another level of competition. Exactly what I'm saying here. Sid is playing against another level of competition, and now Sid is actually playing in an age. I mean, Jonathan, you could probably, maybe, for your experience watching Lemieux growing up in the league, if they got any of that, or if Lemieux got any of these comparisons, like Crosby is so good now where he is getting compared to by young guys coming out of the draft. You saw it with Connor McDavid. You saw it with Connor Bedard. You're probably going to see it in 2 years from now with Gavin McKenna. But, yeah, not going to, argue any further. They all were good. Seeing Yager and Mario and Sidney and Malkin, trust me, Sidney is Sidney, but Mario and Yager are another level. Not doubting that whatsoever. Again, I will say Lemieux and Yager probably the more dynamic of the duos, but overall, Crosby, GOAT in my opinion, not just, in Penguins, but easily around Mount Rushmore in the history of hockey. Crosby is. Going back, Freight Train, again, commentary for the Bucks game, no problem. Just going to hit real quick on what the lineup is looking like tonight. So let me scroll down here. Where do I have it? Oh, there it is. O'Neal Cruz leading off again in center field tonight. Brian Reynolds, second game back out in the field after dealing with his arm injury, batting second. So right field, great to see him out there. Kutch DHing again. Shock. Oh my God, they played Andrew McCutchen in back-to-back games. Is Derek Shelton all right? Is Derek Shelton alive? Because he hates doing that for some weird reason. So Kutch back in there batting third. Lord deliver us from seeing more Emmanuel Valdez batting in the fourth hole. Year six of Ben Cherington and Derek Shelton, and we got Emmanuel Valdez, who's probably still batting under the Mendoza line, batting in the fourth hole. Joey Bart catching batting fifth. Jack Suwinski probably going to strike out twice tonight, batting sixth in left field. Jared Triolo in the lineup tonight over Key Brian Hayes. Key getting the night off. He'll play third base. Adam Frazier at second and Isaiah Kiner-Falefa in the 9 hole. So pretty normal 8 and 9 spots there. Carmen Majinski on the mound here, hoping to continue more of his last outing. His last outing, he went 5 strong, and then up on the MLB roster, Thomas Harrington closed it out with a 4-inning save. So Majinski tonight also going against former Pittsburgh Pirate Luis Ortiz. Ortiz on the bump tonight for the Guardians. I think he's coming off a start in which he had 10 Ks. So be very Pirates-like for them to get have Ortiz put up a similar stat line tonight. Probably going to strike out a bunch of guys. And yeah, trade looks better and better every day there, Charrington. Ortiz is dealing, at least in his second start, or third start, whatever number of start of the year that was for him. So Ortiz coming off his best game of the season and one of his best games of his career. And you gave up him and 2 prospects for Spencer Horwitz, who will be watching from the dugout tonight because he still has yet to even begin a rehab stint for his wrist injury, a chronic wrist injury, mind you, that you probably should have known about before you traded for him, or you did know about and still stupidly traded for him. Also, tomorrow afternoon, 4:05, appointment television, Paul Skeens pitching on his bobblehead day. And then Mitch Keller will close out this 3-game series at 1:35 on Sunday. So what to expect tonight, who knows? Bucks were all over the map in that last series against the Nationals. Thankfully, Andrew Heaney put on the performance of a lifetime yesterday, and the Bucks could squeak out with a win. Same thing goes for the bullpen, which, by the way, the bullpen, ever since David Bednar got sent down and Colin Holderman on the IL, check this, shout out North Shore 9, 2.31 ERA, 6th in the MLB, 0.89 whip, 2nd in the MLB, a 160 batting average against, 3rd in the MLB, a 2.16 win probability added, 1st in the MLB, and a 32.3% hard hit percentage chance, 4% in the league. So the bullpen, without Colin Holderman and without David Bednar, absolutely dealing right now. Shout out to Dennis Santana, Ryan Barucki, Justin Lawrence, and everybody else in that pen. They've been absolutely beautiful as of late. He hit up the comments real quick. Freight Train, yeah, there isn't a comparison. Sid and Gino versus Mario and Yager. Mario and Yager takes that comparison. I'm just speaking of Sid. Yeah. I always wonder too, like, see, here's why I think. The more I just thought of this. Sid or Mario and Lemieux together as a duo, probably better than Sid and Gino. But individually, Sid, top 5 player in NHL history, best player in the franchise history. But you take Sid away, Gino isn't no slouch either. Evgeny Malkin, throughout his career, played his best hockey when Crosby was out injured and raised his game to a whole new level. So no slouches there. I will say again, let's just all be grateful that we got to watch 4 first ballot Hall of Famers in our lifetime and see their best hockey in a Penguin uniform. 3 of the 4 which their whole careers as Penguins. Let's real quick take one last stroll through Twitter before I hop off for the evening. Bucks game about to get underway here in 15-20 minutes. A video from 93.7 The Fan taken 21 minutes ago, giving sort of a panoramic view around the stadium. Looks like another pretty empty night at the ballpark. Maybe you're looking at, a 10,000 person attendance tonight per usual. Fans really showing their displeasure with the team. And I'll say this, I don't blame them. And honestly, I'm in the same bucket. Like, me and my family, near the end of every baseball season, we all look at the schedule and we pick out, 1, 2, maybe 3 games possibly to go at in the summer. This year, we haven't done any of that because disappointing offseason led to, lackluster spring training into disappointing beginning of the season. Like, the team definitely, as they're trying to rebuild that such great relationship that they had before with the fan base. Fans just don't care right now, and they aren't going to care until there's a change in ownership or until real money and effort gets put into this team with the best pitcher in the sport leading the charge. Pirates general manager Ben Cherington speaking with the media before the game here. Let me real quick see if I can listen in on to what he said. Really, really quiet for me to listen to, so I will listen to that back and maybe have some news on that on Monday if it's relevant. Not seeing anything else. Jerry Dulac of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. The Steelers have first-round grades on Jackson Dart and really like Shedeur Sanders. So do not sleep on the Steelers possibly taking one of those two if they're both available at 21. Yep, not seeing much else here. Of course, another thing from the Penguins exit meetings today, of course, always everybody same monotone answer. It's disappointing that we aren't getting ready to compete in playoffs starting tomorrow. So looks like they are doing a pregame ceremony on the field there. Skeens is there with someone. Jason Bay and Paul Skeens with a commemorative home plate on the field. Wonder what that is for. Okay, unsure what that's about, but Bay and Paul Skeens there together on the field. Might be a rookie of the year thing. I think Bay was it Jason Bay was the last Pirate to win rookie of the year in the MLB. Jonathan Harvey, the only Pirates news positive is Paul Skeens is a Pirate. Other than that, I expect a loss tonight. Low Pirate esteem. Pirate esteem is non-existent right now. There, Jonathan. That pretty much is the only positive thing, that Paul Skeens is a Pirate. And Bay throwing out the first pitch there to Henry Davis. Bucks wearing their City Connect uniforms tonight. I believe that's the first time this season we're seeing the City Connect unis, and unlike last year, they're wearing the black pants with the City Connect jerseys. I remember near the end of the year, they were wearing the regular home white pants with the City Connect jerseys. So Jason Bay throwing out the first pitch there. I think that was a award for Skeens for maybe winning offensive rookie or NL rookie of the year. Excuse me. So, yeah, think going to call it a stream there. Not seeing any other massive breaking news otherwise. So we're going to get ready to watch the Bucks and probably have a couple. What the F's are they doing? And yeah, take things from there. See if the Bucks will either disappoint or somehow pull a rabbit out of their ass to win. With that, thank you all for joining me. Appreciate you all commenting. Freight Train Jonathan, thank you all for watching. Had between 8 to 10 viewers here. Appreciate it very, very much. Again, please join me all. Please, I hope all of you join me here. Next week, going to be a fun week leading up to the beginning of the draft. Thursday and Friday night, there will be no news live streams like this. I'm just going to go live for the draft itself, and we'll cover any news during that broadcast. But Monday, going to go probably make our top 21 list. Steelers pick 21, so we're going to name the top 21 players that we want the Steelers to draft with their first overall pick. Going to go through that. Steelers probably doing the same thing, if not having finalized that exact thing right now. And yeah, with that, thank you all very much. Like, share, and comment this video. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and everybody have a good weekend. Happy Easter to all of you. Hope you enjoy some time with family, and hope you all take care of yourselves. And I will see you guys back here on Monday. Happy Easter. God bless. Let's go Bucks. Have a good night, ladies and gentlemen. Peace.